the report of the Credentials Committee. May I please have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. All. Oh, you got a report about the Credentials Committee. Back up a little bit. Hers are different from my one.
Oh.
Okay.
You got.
Back up. I apologize. Is the Credential Committee prepared to report?
I want to thank Council Members Kenoi and Poindexter for helping me to review the credentials. And Mr. Chair, your Credentials Committee, to which was charged the duty of examining the credentials of the persons who will serve on the County Council for the 2012-2014 term, reports as follows. We received and examined the certification and report from Jame K.K. Kawauchi, the County Clerk, and your committee has determined the following persons were duly elected and sworn in as members of the Hawaii County Council. From District 1, Valerie T. Poindexter. District 2, J. Yoshimoto. District 3, Dennis Fresh Onishi. District 4, Greggor Ilagan. District 5, Zendo Kern. District 6, Brenda Ford. District 7, Drew Mamo Kanuha. District 8, Karen Eoff. And District 9, Margaret Wille. It's signed by all three members of the committee, and the report is hereby submitted for your approval.
At this time, could I please have a motion for the adoption of the report of the Credentials Committee? Thank you very much, Councilwoman Willie. May I please have a second? Thank you very much, Councilman Onishi. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Hearing no no's, the motion is carried. The Credentials Committee is hereby discharged. Would the clerk please call the roll call for the newly elected council members?
Ms. Eoff.
Here.
Ms. Ford.
Is his mic on?
Here.
Your mic on?
Ms. Ford.
Technical difficulty.
Mr. Ilagan.
Present.
Mr. Kanuha.
Here.
Mr. Kern.
Here.
Mr. Onishi.
Here.
Ms. Poindexter.
Here.
Ms. Willie.
Here.
Mr. Yoshimoto.
Here. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Let's proceed to the next order of business, order of resolutions.
Resolution 1-12 designates the council chair, J. Yoshimoto, regarding communication 1, introduced by Mr. Yoshimoto.
Move to approve Resolution 1-12.
Seeing the motion of resolution number 1-12 being motioned and seconded, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Call for discussion. Do we have a discussion? Seeing no discussion at this time. Phew. Can I please? Instead we are looking going, where's that one? You guys, I thank everyone for their patience with me as Chair Pro Tem. Again, Mr. Clerk, and for that, congratulations to you. Please call the roll.
Ms. Eoff.
Aye.
Ms. Ford.
No.
Mr. Ilagan.
Aye.
Mr. Kanuha.
Aye.
Mr. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Onishi.
Aye.
Ms. Poindexter.
Aye.
Ms. Willie. Chair Yoshimoto.
Aye.
You have 7 ayes.
And 2 noes.
Yes.
Okay. Based on 7 ayes and 2 noes, resolution number 1-12 is adopted. Chair Yoshimoto, will you please come forward and accept the County Council Chair position, please? Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for Councilor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, council members. Okay, Mr. Clerk, why don't we move on to the next item on the agenda, Resolution 2-12. You could please read that into the record.
Resolution 2-12 designates the council vice chair Karen Eoff.
We have a motion to approve Resolution 2-12. Motion made by Mr. Ilagan and seconded by Mr. Onishi. Any discussion? Ms. Wille? Oh, hit your mic, Ms. Wille.
Yes, I think Karen will do a very good job, and I appreciate her and consider her a very good friend. At the same time, there were two senior members of this former council that were interested in being chair, and I felt, out of respect, that one should be chair and one should be vice chair. Again, that's not saying something negative to anyone, but really what I felt would be best. And looking at us, as I see us, trying to look at us as problem solvers and working all together and bringing our divergent points of view together, I felt that was best. Again, I think Karen will be great. It was not what I thought would be the very best for our county.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wille. Mr. Onishi, Ms. Wille, if you hit your light off, please. Thank you. Mr. Onishi.
You know, I do support Karen Yoshimoto as vice chair, and I feel that since we have a veteran chair, since we have like 6 new members, you know, it would be great that one of the new members become like the vice chair, because they can learn the process, and this is the learning experience, and we gotta pass on the baton to the next generation. Thank you.
Mr. Onishi. Any further discussion, council members? Ms. Poindexter?
I'd just like to say that I do also support Karen Eoff for the vice chair position. And I think this is, she is what Hawaii County needs at this time. I think we need some healing on our island, and I think Karen can bring people together and build those bridges for us. So it's about building healthy and safe communities, and I really feel Karen can bring that to the table. So I'm supporting Karen. Aloha.
Thank you, Ms. Poindexter. Any, Mr. Ilagan?
I also want to say that I do support Councilwoman Karen Eoff, and she's going to be a great vice chair, especially the fact that she has the heart for that position, and she's very meticulous on her work, and she really gets it done. So I just want to say you have my support, and congratulations, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments before I make a brief comment? No other comments? I speak in support of Ms. Eoff. Anyone who knows Karen knows what kind of person she is, and you know, we've known each other for many years, and her contribution to the community, her willingness, her spirit of aloha is just remarkable. It's something that we will all benefit from. Okay, well, nothing further. Mr. Clerk, please call the vote.
Ms. Eoff?
Aye.
Ms. Ford?
No.
Mr. Ilagan?
Aye.
Mr. Kanuha?
Aye.
Mr. Kern?
Aye.
Mr. Onishi? Ms. Poindexter?
Aye.
Ms. Wille? Chair Yoshimoto?
Aye.
You have 7 ayes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Resolution 2-12 passes. Please read Resolution 3-12, Mr. Clerk.
Resolution 3-12 appoints the county clerk, Stuart Maeda, introduced by Mr. Yoshimoto.
We have a motion to approve Resolution 3-12.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Onishi, seconded by Ms. Poindexter. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, the vote.
Ms. Eoff?
Aye.
Ms. Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Ilagan,
Aye.
Mr. Kanuha,
Aye.
Mr. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. Onishi, Ms. Poindexter,
Aye.
Ms. Wille,
Aye.
Chair Yoshimoto.
Aye.
You have 9 ayes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Resolution 3-12 is approved. Please read Resolution 4-12 into the record. Hold on, Mr. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Onishi?
would it be okay if we took like a 1-minute recess to congratulate Stuart?
Okay, let's do that, but before we do that, let's ask Judge Nakamura, who is here, to please swear in the county clerk. He will administer the oath of office.
So, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Hawaii,
and the Constitution of the State of Hawaii,
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties
as county clerk
as county clerk
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Okay, congratulations.
Okay, Mr. Onishi, are you requesting a recess to,
Just a 1-minute recess so we
Okay.
can congratulate.
okay,
the
we
clerk.
can recess for 1 minute. Okay, we're going to call the meeting back to order. Thank you, everyone. We're going to move on to Resolution 4-12. Mr. Clerk, if you could please read Resolution 4-12 into the record.
Resolution 4-12 adopts the new rules of procedure and organization of the Council of the County of Hawaii, introduced by Mr. Yoshimoto.
We have a motion to approve Resolution 4-12 and related communications.
That motion.
Motion made by, okay, second by Mr. Onishi. Okay, thank you. Discussion on Resolution 4-12. Mrs. Wille, do you want to go first?
Let me say in terms of the rules that I hope that you all think of them as rules in progress and process, and that we're looking towards how can we be more accountable to you and more transparent and more effective and more efficient, so that anything that is in here, I hope that you're looking at it and will give us feedback as well as looking at the other rules. Let me say, in terms of the in-person presence that Tim Reese brought up, I feel that that should be the norm. But clearly there's no problem when any council member uses video conferencing for some good reason or clearly as an infirmity or disability. It's really just trying to, I think, encourage us to be together and be more effective, and also for you all, when you want to come testify in person. I know for me, I've said, well, I want to go testify in person, but there's some going to be in Hilo and some in Kona, and where do I want to be? So it's really, really promoting that and trying, again, to be, how can we be more effective and efficient together? And in terms of the 6 p.m., I really hear what you're saying. Again, I think we're going to try to be more efficient, and I certainly would not think of us cutting off if there was still additional public testimony. But I think that this is one that certainly any time as we go on, assuming it passes, it's a balancing act. And sometimes, at least I have felt that as it gets later, there's sort of more, the deliberation isn't as high quality and really weighing that. So, again, at least for me, I really hear what you're saying, and maybe that will not work. There are some additional rules in here that try to offer more efficiency. And one thing I think that was brought up that wasn't stated here is the option of people testifying as a group. And I just want to clarify that that in no way is meant to limit any individual from testifying on his own, but only where people do want to testify as a group, so that with one spokesperson and being able to read off everyone else's name and where they're from without that taking any time. So again, I appreciate all of these comments and the for example, your emphasis on agendizing, and you're emphasizing on a lot of these things that like health and safety, or the looking at things in terms of the different perspectives. Well, certainly this is a learning process, and let's make it really efficient, and please add your comments as you go along. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kern?
Would it be possible for us to bifurcate that rule out, rule number 2, meeting section 11, so we could vote on that?
That's an option. Perhaps you could hold that until we have all the comments be completed, but then that's an option that you can make. You can make a motion to bifurcate, and we can vote on that if that's the wish of the council.
Okay. So we're still making comments on this then. So with that comment, I'll make that we should. I'm not comfortable with that. We signed up for this job to serve and stay in a meeting as long as possible. As people were talking about while we were campaigning, are you ready for the meetings to go till 9, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night? I said yes. I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure that somebody does want to testify, that we're able to stay here, listen to them, and then make our decision that same day so everyone has the opportunity. That's my feelings, that's what I signed up for, and that's what I'd like to see. So if we could bifurcate that, that's sort of
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kern. Any other comments on Mr. Onishi?
Yes, thank you, Mr. To my experience, it's not the testimony that lasts till 6 o'clock. It's the discussion among council members, because the testimony usually lasts till maybe like 4 o'clock. Sometimes might go to 5 or something. But the thing is, it's just the testimony. So I would suggest the council members, when we know we have something crucial on the agenda, to do your homework and to make sure that you need to contact whatever departments that are involved and talk to them prior instead of talking to them at this meeting. Because then you'll find out your facts, and then whatever you might have missed or you hear from the testimony, then you can bring that up. Okay, but do your homework first, because there was a lot of times where at the meetings people don't do their homework, and that's why our meetings last long. Okay, so that's why to in one way with the video conference, because if people or council members has a prior commitment, to me that's when they can stay at that certain location, because they can attend maybe a community meeting after that. And because these meetings last long, they could come and go, right? They could go to the meeting, come back. If the meeting is still running, come back and continue with the meeting. But that's why video conference is very important. And also, what I've learned through my 4 years is that when there's an issue at your district, in your district, that people in your district wants to see you there. Because if you're in Kona and there's something in Hilo that's happening, they cannot talk to me because I'm on the screen. But if I'm here listening to them, they can see you and they can talk to you about it, what's going on. So we gotta kind of watch, because I tell you one thing, like we always said, you need to take care of your districts. You need to take care of your constituents, right? And so that's what I feel with video conference helps out. Okay, so that's what we gotta look at. And I think with the suggestion that Mr. Kern made, we get past this and we can do amendments later, because there's some amendments that I would like to do too on this, right? And so I felt this is not the time, because I want you folks to celebrate your time, with your families, because I don't want to stay here till like 6 o'clock. Okay, so I want to see this thing moving, and let's get things done. And then as the I guess the meetings come along, you folks gonna read this real thoroughly, and then make sure that you folks understand it. If there's changes, we can make changes. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Onishi. Staff did request a brief recess. Ms. Ford, you can speak first, and then we can go into the recess. Go ahead, Ms. Ford.
Thank you. Well, I have 3 comments on most of these rule changes I support. The rule of staying past 6 o'clock after hearing the discussion from the public and understanding for 6 years how passionate the public feels about certain issues. If they come and they sit here all day long waiting to testify. And then for us, even if it's 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, if the public testimony goes that long, for us to then say, well, we'll have our discussion on another day and make you come back again. I can understand how the public feels about this. And so when it comes to Mr. Kern's bifurcation, I'm going to support that. So you can always change your mind, because get information from the public. Secondly, on rule number 10, voting, number 6, a lot of discussion came up about a member is excused from voting, silence shall be recorded as an affirmative vote. Let me give you some past history on this for the benefit of the public. This last sentence was to silence shall be recorded as an affirmative vote, is when you've got all the council members sitting in the meeting and one of them does not say anything. You notice this most when you get a voice vote of the whole group and someone won't say anything, and that's always interpreted as a yes. Unless you hear somebody say no, that's it. It was never intended to be an excuse for a council member walking out of a vote so that they don't have to go on the record as to what their position is. That is much more common than having somebody recorded as a yes when they haven't actually voted, but they're sitting in the room. So please understand, it's the group votes where someone is silent that will be interpreted as a yes, and the fact that a council member may leave the room for any number of reasons. Some are justified, health reasons, or not justified, that's up to the individual, to avoid being recorded as a vote. It's another good reason for all of us to be at all the meetings all the time. I personally have to support the change that says that we should all be together and we should all be there. I think the most important thing about our job is that we're committed to this job, and that doesn't mean scheduling other meetings during this meeting or late at night or whatever. I have to agree with Mr. Kern on this. We signed up, all of us, especially those of us who are more senior members on this council, we signed up and ran again and got elected to be here to do the job of the people. I feel it's important that we do that job, and so once more I would agree with Mr. Kern. Regarding the reconsideration, this was not a change, but I would like to call Corporation Council forward to discuss this since it came up in meeting. Mr. Ishida is our Corporation Counsel, and I'm going to let him introduce himself again for the record.
Good afternoon. Am I on?
Yes.
Good afternoon, members of the council, Lincoln Ishida Corporation Council.
Mr. Ishida, do you have a copy of the rules in front of you, page 15, number 2?
I'm familiar with them.
Okay. The question, I hope I get this right, the question has been raised since I apparently am the only person who voted in favor of a certain bill. I'll try not to mention the bill. A certain bill that may come back here as a veto. Would I be the only person then allowed to vote for the reconsideration? In other words, a reconsideration in order to override the veto, since I was the only person on the past council?
Before I answer that, Ms. Ford, I just wanted the record to be abundantly clear that you are asking the question within the confines of a hypothetical example and not alluding to any matter which previously or may come before the council in the future is reasonably anticipated to come before the council in the near future for discussion. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. Thank you, Mr. Ishida, for protecting me.
That being said, within the confines of your hypothetical, generally the rule is, first of all, rules regarding who may make a motion for reconsideration exists actually in Robert's rules. And many of the rules here, you correctly actually pointed out a few moments ago when you were commenting on the silence being recorded as an affirmative vote. That's a product or creature of Roberts. The reconsideration rule under Rule 15 is a similar creature of Roberts. That being said, the general rule concerning reconsideration votes the ability of a member to cast a vote. For lack of better explanation, that ship has already sailed. The ship has already sailed because the old council, whose members were the only ones entitled to bring a reconsideration, save yourself, of course, are no longer serving as council members. Now, so that's the short answer. However, there are other remedies, or there are other mechanisms whereby a bill passed by a former council that, assuming arguendo, is vetoed by the mayor and is not able to be legally overridden, may nonetheless be enacted into law. And that would be, say in this example, a majority of the new body of this council could effectively pass a same ordinance. It would not violate Roberts, it would not violate your rules, because basically this is a new term. So I don't know if that answers your question.
I believe it answers my question, but I want to make sure for the public's benefit that this is really clear. So in this hypothetical situation, if a veto were to come down, since the ship has sailed, the past council, excluding me.
Let me interrupt on that before I forget. You know, I will check on that because, you know, I just heard this hypothetical come up today, but I'll verify that. That's just my recollection of what McQuillan's on municipal corporations would say on that. Once the body ends, really the jurisdiction of that body ceases to exist, but I'll check and verify that.
All right.
Go ahead.
The reason I'm questioning is because in a hypothetical situation that we're discussing, a veto could come down after a council has been, a new council has been impaneled.
That's correct.
And they would have, what you're telling me is they would have no control over a veto in this hypothetical situation.
That's correct. Assume we had a situation where there are 9 brand new members of a council, and the veto from the executive office or the mayor occurs at a time when the new council is impaneled. Yes, under a strict reading of McQuillan's, at that point, no member would be allowed to file a reconsideration because under the rules, no member had voted in the affirmative.
And is there another way to bring a veto override before the council other than a reconsideration?
No, because according to the way the veto overrides are handled, the mechanism to bring it back live on the floor is a motion for reconsideration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ishida. All right, I'm going to yield at this time, but I would certainly like to hear the motion from Mr. Before or after the break is okay.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ford. Any other discussion before we take a brief recess to consult with staff? If not, we're going to be in a 5-minute recess. Thank you.
What's next? So yeah, I'm down for organizing. I'm down for even deciding who's gonna shoot what where, and then just dump. And then whoever wants, just give the footage and then give it to Dave, give it to somebody. As long as we get footage, because I think that the shot in the front.
I think it's going to be better just to organize our schedules.
Yeah.
But because Dave can't use my stuff, it's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Well, what if I
can't
have
use
2
your
cameras?
stuff. It's too big.
I have
it's
2 cameras.
huge.
What if you had a good camera hooked up to this computer? This is a webcam, right?
Yes.
But also these Sony cameras are webcam. I mean, you can use them on the internet.
Yeah.
And they have fantastic. And what I'm saying is that you locked into this, but what if somebody demonstrated to you that there was another camera that you could use that was better than this on
I'm
council
totally
day?
down with better camera.
Better camera.
Definitely.
And you get an angle, and I'll say, okay, Kurt, I'll get an angle. But I'm gonna start shooting on. I'm gonna buy a dedicated 32 gigabyte chip. So what can happen is, whether it's you or me, if we're both working in chips, and I have 2 chips in the camera, after it's over, you can either download it into your computer, which it already has, or something. If it's not, but if we're broadcasting live, you can take the chip, download it. You got the information on the chip. I got one, and I'm willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because what we need to do is, I know that there are times when I have to go.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't want to wait 2 weeks or next. I don't want to have to get up at 12 midnight to go find out what happened.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. If you have it, you can say, oh, here, I'll borrow this. I can stick it in my computer. Or I can say to you, oh, I was over here at this meeting. Here, borrow this.
Yeah.
Stick it in there.
Well, and for my stuff, you can always have my stuff. I don't work for anybody.
No, it's not that. It's just
always
hard for me
public
to get it
domain.
over. It's hard for me to download it off the internet. I don't know why. Somebody told me something about a YouTube grabber and something else.
Yeah, YouTube downloader. YouTube, I write it down for you.
I'm a dinosaur girl.
YTD. YouTube downloader. Look it up.
Okay.
Let's see here. Actually, we can stop.